So now let us start with shear force and bending moment diagram of cantilevers. Okay, so in the case of cantilevers, need to remember one thing, that you will be always proceeding from the free end. So in the case of cantilevers, you have two ends. One is your this is your fixed end, C is your fixed end, and A is your free end. So however the cantilever is placed, you need to proceed from the free end only. So if you start from the free end, it has to be solved moving from left to right only. Okay, so the first job is to determine the reactions. So you can see that there will be three reactions here, and let us say a constant moment m. Okay, so this is RC and this is RC dash. So if you write down sigma fx is equal to 0, you have RC dash is equal to 0. If you write down sigma fy is equal to 0, you have RC is equal to 20 into 6 plus 50. This is 170. Okay. Sum of all upward acting forces is equal to sum of all downward acting forces. So downward acting is 20 into 6 and another 50, and this is RC. So this is 170. Now let us take moment about C. If you take moment about C and equate it to 0, then what do you have? You have this constant moment moving in clockwise direction. Sorry, this is anti-clockwise direction. This is constant moment in anti-clockwise direction. So this is minus m. Now let us find out the moment due to this. This is also will be acting in anti-clockwise direction. So this is minus 20 into 6 into, it is 3 meters from here. So this is 7 meters. You are taking with respect to point C. So this is 4 plus 3. Again, this is again minus 50 into 4 is equal to 0. So if you solve this, you have m is equal to 120 से 84 840 1040. So m is equal to 1040 negative. So m 1040 negative means that this was your chosen direction, and now the moment has come out to be opposite. So your final direction will be in this direction. So this direction is invalid. So M is 1040, and I have corrected the directions. Now let us see the shear force. So it is mandatory that you have to proceed from the free end. So this is the only option available to you. So first is SF at A. So SF at A is 0, because when you are standing at A and looking to the left of A, you do not have any forces for it. Next is SF just before B. Why just before B? Because at B you have two loads. One is a uniformly distributed load, which has covered a certain distance, and the other one is a point load. So their effect has to be taken individually. The concepts, whatever they were in simply supported beam or whatever beam it is, they will remain the same. Only this is for an example purpose that I am clarifying it to you. So SF just before B is minus 20 into 6. This is minus 120. Why minus? Because it is acting in the downward direction, and the sign convention says that it will be negative. Now SF at B is minus 120 minus 50. This is minus 170. All are Newton. And SF at C is minus 170 plus 170. This is equal to 0. So now let us draw the shear force diagram. Here it is 0. Here it comes out to be minus 120. Then you have minus 170. And then you have 0 here. So from A to just before B, the variation will be a straight line, because if you find out the shear force at any distance x from A, it is minus 20 into x. So this is an equation of a straight line. So just as it reaches point B, it falls down to minus 170. SF just before C will remain as 170 because there is no force interaction between B and C just before C. So the value remains constant, and as soon as it reaches C, 170 is added and it is closed. So this is your shear force diagram. You need to mention the values. So this is 120. You need not write negative and positive because it is understood that all values below the reference line will be negative only. Okay. So now let us draw the bending moment diagram. So Bm at A will be 0. Now next is Bm just before B. Now if you find out Bm just before B, this 50 Newton is not considered. If you can find out Bm at B, again this 50 Newton is not considered. So Bm just before and at yields the same value. So when it is yielding the same value, there is no purpose in writing it twice. So we will only write Bm at B. So Bm at B is how much? This is minus 20 into 6 into 3. This is minus 360. Why minus? Because with respect to point B, this will start producing an anti-clockwise moment. So anti-clockwise moments are negative when you are moving from left to right. Now at point C, you have two moments. One is the moment due to increase in distance, and the other one is this constant moment. So when you have two different moments acting at the same point, their effect is considered individually, like we have seen in the previous problems. So the next point, and you can also take it for granted that always at the fixed end, you need to find out Bm just before that fixed point because it will always carry a resistive moment as a reaction. So the next is Bm just before C. So Bm just before C is minus 20 into 6 into 7 minus 50 into 4. So this comes out to be minus 1040, and Bm at C is minus 1040 plus 1040. This amounts to 0. So now let us plot it. So this is 0. Next one is minus 360. So this is minus 360. Bm just before it is minus 1040. So now let us see the variation between A to B. So the variation between A to B, obviously it is a uniform. A to just before B, A to B will be a parabolic curve because it contains UDL. So a UDL will be represented as a parabola in the case of a bending moment. So this is a parabola. Now, if you see, this parabola is of the opposite shape as we had drawn on the other side of the beam. Okay, if you draw this parabola on the other side of the beam, it is represented like this. This is its mirror image. The reason is when the parabola is drawn on the positive x-axis, positive y-axis, then increase in value means increase in magnitude. Whereas if the parabola is drawn on the negative side, increase in value means a decrease in magnitude. So convex is replaced by concave and concave is replaced by convex. So in the negative axis, increasing is actually decreasing. So the shape reverses. So you need to keep this in mind that whenever it is drawn on the negative axis, the shape will be different. Otherwise, the shape would have been something like this. So this indicates that it is minima, whereas the equation indicates that it is maxima. So this is representing maximum. From B to C, again, if you find out Bm at a distance x from B, so the equation will be something like this. Bm at a distance x from B, so because you need to find out the variation between B and C. So this will be minus 20 into 6 into 3 plus x minus 50 into x. Now this is the equation of a straight line. So this will go as a straight line, and then suddenly when it reaches point C, it closes down, and the bending moment is diagram is completed. This is C60, this is 1040. Okay, so this is your entire shear force and bending moment diagram for a cantilever beam. Now this is another example of a simply cantilever beam, but it has been loaded in other direction. So when the rule says that you have to always proceed from the fixed end, but before that you need to find out the reactions. So again you can see that there are three reactions here. One is this, and let us assume that this is m, direction of movement. So if you write down sigma fx is equal to 0, you have r d dash is equal to 0. If you write down sigma fy is equal to 0, you have 20 into 6 plus 100 is equal to rd. So this is equal to 320 Newton. Let us find out moment about point D and equate it to 0. So this is a constant moment and it is of clockwise nature. So this is positive. Now this is an anti-clockwise moment. So this is minus 50. This is an this is a clockwise moment. So this is plus 20 into 6 into 4 plus 3, 7. And this will also produce a clockwise moment. So this is 100 into 10. So this is 120, 840, 840 और 1000, 1840, 1890, नहीं, 1790. So m is equal to minus 1790. So you need to reverse the direction. So the direction has been reversed. So you get m is equal to plus you have m is equal to 1790 and I have reversed the direction. Now come to SF. When you are moving from in this direction, you need to solve the problem in this direction. So the sign conventions will be getting reversed. Don't reverse the beam according to your convenience. The beam has to be solved as it is given in the problem. Don't try to reverse the beam. In some books, in some local author books, they have reversed the beam, which is wrong. And some people, they do it for their convenience, that I have solved most of the problems from left to right, so I'm habituated with left to right. No, it is not that. You need to solve the problem moving from right to left also, depending upon your problem which is given. So first is SF at A. Now SF just before A आपको निकालने की जरूरत नहीं है, just after निकालने की जरूरत इस वजह से नहीं है क्योंकि just after में ये UDL जो है, it does not have a distance. So SF just before A is 0. SF at A is downward acting is positive. If you remember the sign conventions, downward acting forces are positive. So this is 100. SF just after A, it is not required because that will be compensated in the variation between A to B. Next is SF at B. Just before B निकालने की जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि B पे और कोई लोड नहीं है. So this is 100 plus 20 into 6. So this is 20 into 6. तो ये 120 और ये 220. Next is SF at C. This will remain as 220 because this is a moment and these are force equations. So moment will not be considered in a force equation. Okay. So this I have written by mistake. This is not, this is 220. So next is SF at D. So this is 220 minus 220 equal to 0. Why minus 220? Because this is upward acting forces. Upward acting forces are negative as per the sign conventions when moving from right to left. Now come to BM calculations. Now BM at A is 0. Next is BM at B. BM at B is, these are clockwise moments. Clockwise moments are negative as per the sign convention. So this is minus 100 into 6 minus 20 into 6 into 3. So the 120, 360 or 600 is 960 minus 960. Now at C there is a constant moment. So constant moment means here you, at just before C there is a increase or decrease in moment depend due to increase in distance, because distance has increased when you are moved from B to C. डिस्टेंस बढ़ा है तो मोमेंट बढ़ेगा या घटेगा, और सी पे जैसे ही पहुंचोगे 50 न्यूटन मीटर का मोमेंट और मिलेगा। तो जहां पे दो मोमेंट एक साथ एक्ट कर रहे हैं, या फिर जहां पे भी आप एक कांस्टेंट मोमेंट देखो वहां पे आप बेंडिंग मोमेंट में जस्ट बिफोर कैलकुलेट करेंगे। सो बी एम जस्ट बिफोर सी कितना हो गया, minus 100 into 8, minus 100 into 8 minus 20 into 6 into 5. So this is how much, 800, ये हो गया 120, 120 into 5 600, 600 और 800 minus 1400. BM at C minus 1400, and this is an anti-clockwise moment. So anti-clockwise moments are positive. So this is plus 50. So you have minus 1350. These are all Newton meters. And the next is, again here you have a constant moment. So again you need to find out BM just before D. So this is minus 100 into 10 minus 20 into 6 into 4 plus 3, 7 plus 50, and then okay, so this is 1000, ये हो गया 120, 120 into 7 840, 8 से 1790. So this is minus 1790, and BM at D is minus 1790, and this is a clockwise moment, so clockwise moments are positive, so 1790, this is equal to 0. Now let us see the variation. In SF diagram, SF at A is 0, SF at A is 100, this is positive, so it is marked in the upward direction. SF at B is 220, SF at A is 100, here. SF at B is 220, this is 220. SF at C is again 220, and SF at D is 0. So the variation here, it is a straight line because this is due to a point load. From A to B, again this is a uniformly distributed load, so it will be a inclined line. There is no load between B to C, so it remains a straight line. There is no load between C to D, so again it remains a straight line. And then as it reaches D, it falls down to 0. Now let us see the bending moment diagram. Let us put down the values. This is 100, and this is 220, and this is 0. So if you look at the bending moment diagram, BM at A is 0, BM at B is 960, so this is 960. BM just before C is minus 1400, so this is minus 1400. BM at C is 1350, so this is 1350. And then BM just before D is 1790, so this is 1790, and again here it is 0. So BM between A to B, obviously it will be a parabola. So it is a parabola. Now you need to remember the most common mistake that we do is at C you have 2 points. So you tend to join this. So you need to remember the sequence of activities. This is A, this is B, this is just before C, and this is at C. So the variation between B to C will be a straight line. So this is a straight line. As soon as it reaches here, you have a constant value. The variation between C to D will again be a straight line because it is only a function of distance. And then finally it closes. So again you are plotting down the values. So this is 960, this is 1400, this is 1350, and this is 1790. So once you have written down the values, this completes your shear force and bending moment diagram for a cantilever beam. Now let us see the relationship between shear force and bending moment. So what we have done is we have taken a small segment or a small portion of a beam of length dx. Let it carry some load of magnitude W Newton per meter. On both the ends of the beam, now the length of the beam is only dx. It is an infinitely small length. So here you have, let us say here you have a shear force of magnitude F, and on the other side it is balanced by a equal and opposite shear force. As because the entire dx element is also in a state of static equilibrium, it will be balanced by a magnitude of F plus df. Now this df may be positive or negative depending upon the type of loading. On one side of the beam, again you have a constant moment in clockwise direction of magnitude m acting, and on the other side it is balanced by an anticlockwise moment of magnitude m plus dm. So this is a element dx. It is a element of a beam, infinitely small element of a beam of length dx in a state of static equilibrium. So these are all the various forces and moments acting on this beam. So if you find out SF at O, you find out the SF at O means at the last point. So when the beam ends, you can see that static equilibrium state is achieved. So if you find out SF at A, what do you have? You have upward acting force. You are moving in this direction. So upward acting force is positive. So this is positive. Moment will not be taken in this SF equation. Now this is negative of magnitude W into dx, and this is a negative shear force. So this is minus F plus df. As it is in a state of static equilibrium, this will be equal to 0. So what do you have? F minus W dx minus F minus df is equal to 0. So this F and this F, this cancel out each other. So you have minus W is equal to df by dx. We have minus W is equal to df by dx. Now let us find out moment at sum of all moments about point O and equate it to 0. So if you find the moment about point O, this F will produce a moment F dx. It is in clockwise direction, so this is positive. Now here you have a constant moment of magnitude m in clockwise direction, so again this is m positive. This W dx will be producing a moment W into dx whole square by 2. W into dx is the moment, and it will be resolved at is the force, and it will be resolved at a distance dx by 2. So this is minus W into dx whole square by 2. Now this F plus df will not produce a moment about point O because it does not have a perpendicular distance. Now this is an anti-clockwise moment, so this is minus m plus dm is equal to 0. So these are sum of all moments. Now if you look here, dx is a small quantity. So dx whole square again becomes a smaller quantity. So this entire term is neglected. So you are left with f dx plus m minus dm is equal to 0. This m and m, they cancel out each other. So you have f is equal to dm by dx. You have f is equal to dm by dx. Now if you see here, w is load, f is shear force. So the statement or the conclusion that you draw from this equation is rate of change of load is rate of change of shear force is equal to the load applied. df by dx is rate of change of shear force. So rate of change of shear force is equal to load applied. The load applied is negative. Why? Because the load is in downward direction. So negative is only a representation of the direction. It has nothing to do with the magnitude. Now f is equal to dm by dx. This statement is rate of change of bending moment is equal to the shear force. Rate of change of bending moment is equal to shear force. Now you can see that if f is equal to 0, that means dm by dx can either be maxima or minima. If f is equal to 0, dm by dx will be either maxima or minima. To confirm whether it is maxima or minima, we find out d2m by dx2. Now, if it can be either maxima or minima, minima is 0. In the case of beam, the minimum bending moment is 0. So minimum bending moment occurs at the supports only. So that means it will be sure shot a case of maxima only. Because if it is minima, minima will be in a position where there are supports. So at supports, shear force is equal to 0. It is understood. The other option is it will be somewhere where the bending moment is maximum. So if f is equal to 0, dm by dx will be maxima only. It will not be a state of minimum. So this you need to explain it using 2-3 words, 2-3 lines, that minima is a state which will be achieved only at the ends, not at the center of the beam or somewhere else in the beam. So it has to be maxima. And whenever there is a change in load, you will have a change in shear force. Okay.